Hello.
Hello, Peter.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Jeff calling from Long Beach Radio.
Hi, Jeff.
I've had a chance now. I had a couple of weeks with the book that showed up. And,
Have you?
I've been really enjoying it. I like it seems so personal. It doesn't seem like something that somebody, you just kind of ask people, hey, what's going on in your neck of the woods? You've been to all these places. I'm convinced of it by reading this.
Well, hedge. Some of them are on my bucket list. I haven't walked the North Coast Trail.
Okay.
I haven't been to Triangle Island. About 3 people have.
Yeah.
But I know one of them, Alison Watt, and she wrote a book, an amazing book of prose and her art, about this amazing island off the north end of Vancouver Island where, there's 1 million breeding seabirds. That's the 101th place.
100. So would you say that's kind of? One of my questions I was going to ask you was what's the place that nobody knows about that's in this book that's the most incredible?
That would be a candidate, eh?
Sounds like it.
How about White River Provincial Park? It's south of Sayward. It's like Cathedral Grove.
Mm-hmm.
Like a 800-year-old Douglas firs. The amazing thing about that place is that it came that close to being logged, and the fallers put their saws down.
Oh, they of their own volition.
Oh, risking dismissal, loss of seniority.
Yeah,
but they were employees of McMillan Bloedel, the once great logging company on the island. And they turned the the company to bend towards preserving it, and then the province stepped in and protected it. I think that's pretty amazing. It's only 65 hectares.
Yeah.
But it's very accessible, apparently. I haven't been there yet. I just heard about it.
Yeah.
I had to throw it in there because it's one of those stories that stirs my blood.
Yeah, well, that's actually kind of neat. That's something that I noticed checking out the 101 places every Islander must see this year. This book is that a lot of the places you reference are about their historical significance. The otter trade, I'm just thinking relevant to the Clayoquot Sound region, is mentioned often, as well as the Kennedy River Bridge and the blockades back in the 90s.
Terribly important place, and remains important because it's the gateway to the Clayoquot First Nations set-aside area in the Upper Clayoquot River and Clayoquot Lake, and that's a notable accomplishment in an area where the anti-logging contingent says an area that is not saved, a very amazing area that is not saved. Unfortunately, so I had to put that in there.
Yeah, you reference a lot of other literature too, which I find is really amazing because you go to this place, you learn this little bit of the story, and then you're like, well, where do I learn the rest of the story? In the book, you refer to again the mass trials of the Clayoquot thing there, and Cougar Annie's Garden, that great book that was written about that. So it's really a gateway to learning about a lot of history about Vancouver Island. I've kind of noticed too.
Well, yeah, and what I found on the internet was classic texts like The Adventures and Suffering of John Jewett, the amazing white slave of Maquina, for almost 3 years. Robert Brown's Journal of the Exploration of Vancouver Island in 1864, which is full of amazing detail about the primeval state of the island before it had been developed at all. And you can read these on the internet.
Yeah, they're just all out there
in the original editions.
That's fantastic. So how did the process of putting together a book like this with the 101 places every Islander must see, how do you go about that? You're drawing a lot from your own experience, but
of course.
How do you vote? What's the 102nd place that didn't make it?
Oh, the 100 places that didn't make it would have to include a lot of wonderful restaurants and lodgings. It really was a very painful process. I had a huge list and I had to whittle it down, and so quite a number of notable places got left out. You will I'm sure be happy to note that several restaurants in the Tofino area get mention. They're on lists of the best places. So I kind of splice them in. But really, the leave-outs include, Gabriola Island, Mount Arrowsmith, Hatley Park, near Victoria, the mansion of the Dunsmuirs. A lot of places it grieved me to leave out, and it's really tough because it makes it more challenging for me. If you're going to write about the best places, it calls forth your best writing.
Well, I think it seems like intimate places you've chosen too. Mount Arrowsmith is incredible, but it's kind of already there.
Yeah.
It's already you got the Bamfield Coast Guard Station outside of this region. That might not be as big a story, but you put some relevance to it and you explain why it's on this list. And I think that's great.
Good.
And other books of yours are available. Is there a website?
Well, I was the co-author of the sort of companion book, the Vancouver Island Book of Everything, which is kind of a mosaic, a sort of a statistical and anecdotal mosaic, and it was published by the same publisher, that's McIntyre Purcell, and they're in Nova Scotia. These are both series, the Book of Everything and the Book of Must. And so the Book of Everything came out in 2008, and then this is the companion volume that goes from place to place and tells the stories in a sort of geographical organization.
All right, cool. I just have a couple of questions about yourself as a writer. It says you have, I'm just reading off the back of the book, I know that's lazy journalism, but Peter has traveled the length and breadth of the island by kayak, rowboat, bicycle, and there's a couple of other interesting ones on freighters, whalers, sloops, converted logging tugs. And how did you find the time? Who were the connections that have you staying overnight on a CPR night boat and stuff?
Oh, well, that's a childhood memory. I was quite young. That would have been in the early 50s.
Oh, wow.
And the night boat left from the inner harbor in Victoria, our temple of transport was the CPR steamship terminal. It actually has pillars. And then you go to bed in your stateroom, and then the boat would slip its moorings at midnight, and you'd wake up, sliding under the Lions Gate Bridge.
Oh,
pretty nice.
Yeah,
can't do that anymore.
No. So you were island born, I guess. And
I was born in Victoria, and I went away for school and training and first job, and then my wife and I moved here in 1978. And been here ever since.
Yeah, it's a tough place to not go back to. I can't imagine living anywhere else after moving here.
Yes, and I take the point of view of the First Nations. They've been here since time immemorial. Why leave? It's pretty nice.
Absolutely.
I think Tofino is it's certainly the most spectacularly sited town I've been to in Canada. I can't imagine there's many competitors. It's a wonderful place.
Well, thanks. I built it myself,
Yeah. You're how old?
Not nearly the X billions of years I'd need to be. Well, I appreciate talking to you today, Peter, and thanks for the book. It's been a fun read, and I look forward to checking some of these places out.
Good show. Thanks for having me.
Yes, take it easy, sir. All right, Peter Grant, thank you for joining us. The 101 Places Every Islander Must See is the book, and they're actually the publishers are sending us some copies that we're going to use as part of our fundraising radiothon coming up in a couple of weeks for the Pacific Rim Hospice Society. So if people don't pick up a copy through the publisher or through a local bookshop, they'll be able to get one when they donate to the cause. So
excellent.
That'll be nice.
Happy to help.
I did a little calling around yesterday, and you can pick up the Vancouver Island Book of Musts at Mermaid Tales Books in Tofino, and I know that they've also got the Vancouver Island Book of Everything down at Wild Heather Books in Ucluit. So if you want to check out Peter Grant's books all about Vancouver Island, you can pick them up locally, and if you're listening to this online, the publisher is McIntyre Purcell Publishing Incorporated.